Wonderful. Another welcome and congratulations on you extending your expertise and knowledge and hopefully gain some inspiration in using your Thermomix. And I would like to get started in letting you know what we're going to make within the hour. I'm hoping to cook 3 dishes for us, which for me and my household will be dinner and a dessert today. So I'm going to use a recipe that I made about a year ago, and I really liked it because it was an all-in-one. It was a little bit different from what I would normally make, and everyone liked it in the house, which is something that's always important to me, and hopefully that will be the case today as well. The other thing is that when we're trying to get vegetables into our sauce, it's sometimes quite a challenge to some people. And I wanted to show you how this dish uses quite a large number of vegetables and it's easy. So, yeah, here's a few more people, rightio, joining us. And here we go. So the recipe that I'm going to start off with today is called the yellow chicken adobo. And if you like to see the recipe on my screen, I can show it to you. Whoop. My week.
Colette, the video on your second camera is not showing. It's turned off.
Hang on.
We're just seeing a picture of you.
Hang on. Why asked to start video? Yeah, that just must have switched itself off. So sorry. Hang on. Here's another person joining. The video is actually showing on now. Anyone, can you help me?
Renee, oh my God.
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to use this camera then. Yes. Are we back?
Okay,
Yes.
it's working now. We can see it now.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
But it's further down the screen. I wish it was back up the top like before.
Yep. It's going to go back there. I wanted to just bring the camera onto my screen so that you can see the recipe. How's everybody going with this?
Colette, if people want to bring your video up to the top, if they hover over that video, the 3 little buttons on the side, there's one that says pin, and that will bring it to the top.
There we go. Is everybody happy with that?
Yep.
So,
Yes.
oops.
No, I didn't get the recipe.
Well, you
Does it
got
look-
it. It's right on the.
I can't see it on my screen.
Check out which camera of mine you have on. I have 2 cameras going.
I have, not that I can see the phone that's in front, but I can't see the recipe.
Yellow chicken adobo. Don't worry, I'll send you the recipe after today's session. How about that?
Okay, no worries.
Huh? So I'm going to start up with this. It asked me to place my Varoma into position. And now what I would really love to hear from you is how often have you used your Varoma? Do you use it? And if you're using it, what you're using it for? You can unmute yourself, or you can also just give me a chat box contribution. In the meantime, what I will do is I'll go through the recipe. It asked me The recipe itself comes from the US, and that's why for some of you, you might find it a little bit harder to find it in your search. Once we have a little bit of time when things are cooking, I would love to show you how to maneuver your way around the recipe platform a little bit more. I know we've done this in the last couple of sessions, but some people have not been able to join us then, and therefore I'd just like to add this to today's session. So it asked me for some squash peeled, and I have peeled it. There we go. And because I'm also loving to add other vegetables, I will now add cauliflower. Didn't have a lot of cauliflower, so I'm adding what I have, and I'm making up the amount of cauliflower needed by a little bit of pumpkin that I throw in, and the rest of it will be made up by broccoli. So this is something that in my local supermarket is readily available at the moment. Whoop. Can everybody still see me on the other camera?
How many grams of that, Colette?
That's about 500 grams of vegetables in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooking.
You know what you want to do is sometimes it's not, I mean, I know if this was Renee, I know you like to go by the instructions, but if you can fill your Varoma loosely and you can still place the Varoma tray into it, then you'll be fine.
Okay.
Well, I will now place this aside because I will use this at a later stage, and I'm now proceeding with my recipe. So the first thing is going to be an onion. It asked me to just cut it in half. 6 garlic cloves if you're someone who is not able to use garlic, or let's just leave it out or use a replacement. Just one more time. Is everyone happy with the camera position?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, sweet. So I can my Thermomix now. So here's, yes?
I can see both machines.
Beautiful.
But
Excellent. We have 2 tablespoons of turmeric, a little bit of dried chili. Now you will notice that I go a little bit by how I feel about the herbs and spices, but believe you me, I know roughly what a teaspoon is. So if you are not in tune with what a teaspoon is, you have these little 3 dots next to your next sign, and you can put the scales on without having to pull out a spoon. And here we go for about 15 grams and move on from here. Did anybody notice that this is in ounces at this recipe?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So you just need to be a little bit more careful if you can't think in ounces. Inserting the measuring cup, and we're giving it 5 seconds to be chopped up. Super. Here for the camera. As you can see, this is full of turmeric, and it smells like it's full of turmeric too. Here is my green spatula. I prefer using this when I've got lots of small stuff to maneuver in my bowl. They are readily available on the mix shop, and I've got several sitting around. Just going to leave this sitting here to saute for 3 minutes. I'm going to go over to the other one. in that time. And one of the recipes. Oh. One of the recipes that are still left for us to do today is those steamed ginger puddings. The reason why I picked this is this is something that you can do while you're having dinner. This can just cook itself in the background. And the other reason is that some of my customers have expressed that they would love to use the Varoma more for sweet things. So here's a suggestion for you. Just need to get back into my week. See that? There they are. Hopefully you can see that. Steamed ginger puddings. We'll start cooking them in the background. And so here is something that I'd like to show you. We have the opportunity to use our own silicone molds. Now, some of you might have these little things, and I will use some of them. Some of you may have silicone containers like these, which we also have on the mix shop. They fit nicely in the bottom as well as in the top. And I bought this a long while ago, also from the mix shop, if you wanted to make your sweets just a little bit smaller. So just to show you. And now I'll start with the prep work for this recipe. Grams of sugar. Now, sometimes the recipe says white sugar, sometimes the recipe says raw sugar. I in general fall back on raw sugar because that's my preferred way of using sugar. And just to make sure that we have a nice smooth consistency, we blend this up for 10 seconds. Super. Wait, we have a large fresh piece of ginger that I place in here. And if you don't have fresh ginger, you can fall back on ground ginger. That's not a problem at all. Unsalted butter. Just gonna do the easy bit and use some soft butter. There wasn't much available in the shops this week, so I use what I've got. Perfect. Some golden syrup. Golden syrup is something that you can buy in a shop. Tend to have a emergency pack in my house, but if you need this and if you want this, there is a recipe that you can make your own golden syrup and you save quite a bit of money. This container costs around the $7. You can make this for less than $2. Has anyone ever made this?
No.
No? Was this a
No,
new piece
no.
of information for you just then?
Yes.
I love this. We used to eat this when I was little, just like honey. 2 eggs. Have I got anybody relatively new to Thermomix? Then you might not know, might not have seen that we can use the measuring cup to crack our eggs. Wonderful. Some milk coming. What I really like about this recipe is that most of these ingredients I can have readily in the house. So as this is now going, I will very shortly move back to my other Thermomix. Ding dong. Beautiful. Here we go. Nice mixture. Couple of things to be added are now some self-raising flour. Always remember to tear your scales. Lots of accidents can happen there. And this is, the next one is not a must. My family is generally not so hot on raisins, but I'm going to put them in because they're part of the recipe today. I'm just going to use 1 handful of raisins. And that builds about half of the raisins that the recipe suggests. Just for something different. And now, quick mix. Made condensed milk before. Excellent. That's also something really, really simple, and condensed milk is done and within 4 minutes, if I can remember right. Is that right, Linda? We're going to do this again, one more time. And now all it comes down to is dividing the mixture between the different molds that you choose to use. So what will I do? I'm going to place a few of these in the bottom. And I'm going to use this to place up the top. Very quick. This should make a minimum of 12, but I find sometimes it makes a little bit more than that for me. Has any one of you ever steamed any sweets? Have you made the sticky date pudding in the steamer?
No.
No,
Rice
I
pudding.
haven't
A lot
yet.
better than coming out of the oven, I can share.
Oh,
Plus you're cooking everything in one go. Meaning you're steaming your sticky date pudding, and at the same time, the steaming base is actually your caramel sauce. Yeah, there's 12, I think. Sweet. What I will do is to make this a little bit easier. You might see that I've got another Thermomix sitting right behind this one in the back. I'm going to actually change the setting. Hopefully this works. It should. And I'm going to cook these over here. So one thing that you want to do before you place the Varoma on the top, you want to use a little bit of baking paper. Place this over the top so that they don't flow over too much. I'll do this for the top and then we'll see what happens in the bottom where I don't do that. Now just adding the water. And then we can go and leave these to steam. Yep. Where is it? In general, that might take about 25 minutes for that to be done, but we're going to be busy doing other things in that time. Coming back to this camera here, a bit closer. 3. We now will continue with a recipe, and I need a bit of coconut milk or coconut cream. I'm going to use coconut cream. Because that's what I've got in the house. And just make sure that you've got a bit of fluid with the cream as well, because you want to mix this up with some tapioca starch. Okay. Oh, yeah. So can everybody see this? No. I bought this bag of tapioca starch, not from a normal supermarket. I get this from a wholesaler in Newcastle that's called Babina. So for anyone who lives in the Newcastle area, Babina is the way to go. But a couple of tablespoons, make this a little bit thicker. If you don't have this, just because it's got a little bit of an Asian inspiration, you can also just use corn flour. I'm mixing this up slightly. And I'm going to put this to the side. Really confused on my camera. I only see one image. And that's not myself. Once things are cooking, I try and change this. So, as you can remember, we've got the turmeric mix in the bottom. And in this, with this, I'm going to add my chicken now. The chicken has been cut into cubes before. Here it is. And this is close to pretty much a kilo. Yep. Sometimes I get asked, should I use chicken thighs? Should I use chicken breast? The recipe itself says chicken breast, chicken thighs, but I bought chicken thighs, but chicken breasts is a matter of preferences. You will find that the more nutritious value sits in the thighs, but some people just can't do thighs. So do what works for you. And we have some coconut milk. What I'm doing is I'm emptying out my coconut cream, and then I'm going to get some coconut milk to add on. I would love to hear, has anyone ever come across this recipe? Yes, no? It's very quiet. Yes, chicken breast can be used in everything. There is recipes where it will dry out if you don't cook it for its appropriate time. Chicken breast is usually cooked a little bit quicker than chicken thighs. I have a little bit of white vinegar, which is interesting to add. Now my ginger, sliced up, and a little bit of honey. I know there's someone in the group here who was trying to join us, Renee, and Renee wanted to cook along.
I'm doing that.
Beautiful. How are you
I'm a
going
bit
with that?
behind you.
Hmm?
I'm a bit behind you though.
Little bit of fish sauce and a little bit of soy sauce coming. And again, don't be too hard on yourself if you haven't got the odd ingredient. And now remember my starchy mix, which is just about filled up the bowl at the bottom. So this is going to be quite a large dish for us. I'm now going to place my Varoma into position. Oop, here it is. Pressing next. And for 30 minutes, this is all going to cook, and then it's very close to serving time. In the meantime, one other thing that I thought I would do is once these steamed puddings are finished, I would really like to serve them with a sauce. And I know some of you may have done a vanilla pudding, or you just use cream with it, or enlighten me with what sauces you have come up with. I'm going to make a sauce anglaise. For us. Just need to find another bowl, which is over there. Yes. Tell me while I'm getting my bowl ready. I'm just going through the chat box, haven't come across. What is everybody cooking for dinner today? I have, Andrew, you're funny. I have more thermies than Australia Post. That's very true. Sometimes I feel like that. Yeah. Oh, Linda, you're going to try the sticky date pudding tonight. I've got so much reading to do. And it's really a good idea to have someone who goes through the chat with me. How do you use the Varoma to steam the sticky date pudding instead of use the oven? That's a very good question, Anna. So if you, I'm gonna put this up. Let me just see whether I can change my view. My view. On here so I can see everybody. When you have your sauce filled up at the bottom, what I've just done with my puddings over here in the background, in that machine over there, I just use small containers that I place into the Varoma, and that becomes small little sticky puddings. And I'm going to show you another thing that you can use. I just have to go and get it. One sec. We actually have these in the mix shop, silicon Dario molds, and they're perfect to utilize for things like this. So they're about this size and they fit perfectly into the Varoma, and you can easily fit quite 6, 8, 10 in there. If you spray them with a little bit of oil, the puddings will just come out very, very easily. Dario molds, I can highly recommend them. I thought I'd show you this because I haven't seen anyone on Zoom using these recently. I have used them quite a lot in the past. So moving on, I still need a bowl. Hang on. Oh, well prepared, and I have only got 4 or 5 bowls.
Are those molds reusable or are they a one-time?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Are those Dario molds, are they reusable or?
Yeah,
are they
absolutely. Yeah. They are made from silicon.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just put them in the dishwasher. And yeah, remember, we want to be as lazy as possible. Yep, they're very easy to clean. Very easy. So here's a vanilla sauce that requires me to put my butterfly in. This is another thing that a lot of customers find, or I find not a lot of customers use this. Do you use your butterfly?
Sometimes.
Yeah. This one requires you to use the butterfly plainly to make sure that the sauce is really, really smooth. So I'm going to get some milk. I just have the milk here. Hey, it's right between the machines. About 300 mils of milk. 4 egg yolks that I prepared earlier. Too excited I am. And a little bit of white sugar. Again, I'm going to use raw sugar. And to really enhance the flavor, you should be using a vanilla pot and get the vanilla scraped out from there. But what I use is, again, the easy option for today, because at the moment, to go to the shop that I would need to go to get a vanilla pot, it would take me probably about an hour and a half as a round trip, plainly because we've only got one road open from where I am at the minute. So I'm just going to pour a bit of vanilla bean paste into this. And because I love the flavor, It's okay if it's a bit more, isn't it? If you are willing to learn how to empty a proper vanilla pot, within this recipe, this TM6 actually has a training video, and I can show you this. Yep. Hopefully that works. It actually shows how you empty out the pot. Check it out on your cookie dough. It's really, really easy to do. And all that is, it's just like making vanilla pudding. We'll just wait for 9 minutes and that should be done by the time the puddings are done. They're about 10 minutes away from being cooked. And I would like to use my time with you to see and get some feedback from you as to what you would like to learn, because I feel that people are at the moment not so keen on having cooking experiences in their houses because it's the weather, it's not inviting, or for whatever else reasons. We've got the flu season and COVID is going around again. So I figure that doing this on Zoom again and doing it in a shorter period of time will be beneficial to people in their own homes. How do you feel about doing things like this?
Yep, I
And I
like
have
doing
just-
things like this.
Sorry?
I like doing it like this,
Yeah.
like Zoom. Yeah, it's good. I'd like to learn a bit more about the Suez bags, Suez cooking.
The sous vide?
So,
Oh. Too big.
Sous vide?
yeah,
Sous vide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sous
Yeah.
vide
Yes,
cooking
I
is
bought the
something
bags.
that I'm more than happy to do with you, but sous vide cooking is a fine dining method of cooking that requires a little bit of time. So what I would
Okay.
suggest, if you are keen on doing sous vide cooking, send me a message. I'll pick a recipe. And what we should do is maybe get it started, then leave the room and then come back to the room and compare notes and compare the recipes. Because plainly what happens is, I'll take meat and fish as an example. If you're utilizing meat, it's really the best way of producing a good steak. The steak is herbed and spiced up and placed into a bag. That could be a Cryovac bag, and if you don't have that, you could just use Ziploc bags, place it into warm water, and the water temperature is set depending on the type of food you've got in there and the amount. It's anywhere between 44 and 56 degrees. So what happens is when the cooking time is over, that could be anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. Your meat is very, very soft, very tender, and there's no sign of any blood anymore. So it's really nice and pink. And the only thing that you need to do to complete your steak so that the man in the house, if there's a man in the house, love it, is just having a hot plate on the stove or using the barbecue, and truly just 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds on the other side. The residue and the fatty substances on the surface of your steak will be shriveled up, and they add a bit of sweetness because of the caramelization, because of the high temperature. It's the best way to produce a steak. It just takes a little bit of time. Any fine dining restaurant around in your areas, they would all agree that sous vide cooking will produce you the best steak. Love the butterfly, the speed. Yep, that's right. When you use your butterfly, speed 4 is the maximum to use. Yeah. Who else?
Yeah, I bought the bags, but
Sous
I
vide
haven't
cooking is
been game
a-
enough to use them.
Sous vide cooking is really a great thing to do. However, it's just a little bit time consuming.
Yeah, I've got the bags. I've just never been game enough to try
You
it.
can easily pick a recipe one day and do that. Mhm.
Yeah, that would be
I
good.
wrote
Yeah.
myself a note. Is there anyone else who would like to learn something? Yes. Yes. Like I said, it takes some time, but it is really rewarding. And if you did have several Thermomixes like Renee over here, then, and if you're cooking for a few people, then your sous vide can go in one area and the other Thermomix can be used to cook something else, which is very helpful. Has anyone made the Café de Paris garlic butter? That goes absolutely fantastic with the steak.
So what sort of garlic butter was it?
It's
De
called Café de Paris. How about I start a screen share and I'll pull up the Cookie Do platform and I'll show you how I find this. Everybody happy with that? Show me your hands for those on camera. Sweet. May as well. What else would you do? Hi, Lenny. Share the screen, Colette. Radio. Share. And it's going there. We're going to Cookie Do. And expanding. Everybody able to see? So
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether this comes up as a yes, it does. Café de Paris butter.
Oh, yes.
See, it gets 5.0 rating. This is a very much a popular recipe, particularly when you're cooking steak or anything, any meat on barbecue. Everybody got that?
Yep.
Okay. Nice one. What I'd like to do is get some feedback from you, maybe even in the chat box or talking. Is everybody pretty sufficient in maneuvering their way around Cookie Do throughout all the different countries? Yes, no? Kayleen, come on, tell me what would you like to learn? How do I assist you more?
Yeah, I think I've done the, because I clicked on the boxes that you told me before or unclicked and ended up with the recipes from other countries. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So then sometimes you find that when you put in a recipe, you end up with the same recipe 3 or 4 times. And is that because it's from a different country or like the different countries are combined? Like on the recipe page?
Sometimes, let's say Australia may have had a recipe first. That recipe gets taken on by the UK and America too. And then what I do is if I see a recipe occur 3 to 5 times in the search box, like for instance, let me just see, that happened to me today with steamed rice. So I looked up steamed rice and see how there are several. Which one am I going to use? I generally go and see whether A, I've got the metric, and B, I've got perhaps English or German, because I've set my search engine up in the way that it gives me German or English. The other thing is you can check, I'll go to this recipe now. See how there is ounces. You can also go down below and check where does this recipe come from. Check out the country. At the very, very bottom, it always gives you which collection it comes from, and then you see the country at the bottom. Yeah. If you want to look for variations, or if you want to look for new recipes but don't know what to call them, maybe describe them by using tags like these. Okay. So Number one, I'll go back to stopping the screen share. Number one is pretty much complete, and here it is. I want to show you how smooth my little thermoserver is. We'll take this out. And to make this just a little bit better, I'm going to strain it to make sure that there's really no sign of curdle or bits. This is turned out pretty good. So here's my sauce anglaise, which is a little bit thinner than a vanilla sauce that you would produce. It's not as custardy, but I am eligible to taste test. Wouldn't you love to be here right now, Helen? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. I have to say, if you haven't tried this, it's definitely a good recommendation. Sauce anglaise or vanilla sauce. Got about 10 seconds to go on my steamed puddings. Yep, there we go. And just so you're in the picture. If you're using the Varoma, there's one rule, regardless of where you're keeping your Varoma on your bench. As you're using it, there's production of steam. Check that you're not using it right underneath any kitchen cupboards, because over time, you will see that the cupboards are going to be destroyed. So I always pull my machine a bit forward. And once the cooking phase is over, to avoid you having a big mess in front of you, what you might want to do is, as you lift up the lid, turn it over while it's still over your Varoma. Take it to the side and then slowly peel off the rest so that you can take off your puddings. So I want to show you. Here's my puddings. Look good? Who wants to have fun?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. And one thing for you, Brenda, I'm thinking, I've got Brenda, I know is a celiac, who also of you needs to check out the type of flour that you're using. This can be done in gluten-free easily. Here are my other puddings. They roast pretty well as well. But what I found is not using the baking paper at the bottom has left a little bit more moisture inside my puddings. The baking paper has absorbed some of the moisture right at the top. So I think these ones are a little easier to get out, which I'm going to try and do now. Hang on. Make it look nice, hey? Make it look nice. Ooh, it's a bit hot. There you go. Pretty good. There's my sauce. You can have dessert before dinner, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah, why not? So what was the sauce? That wasn't the one that was in the recipe, was it?
No, it's an extra one. I'll do the screen share again and show you. Yeah. Where are you? Oh, there. For my week. here is the recipe for you. And just if you know where it is, no problem. Scroll down, check out. It's actually in the TM5 basic cookbook. Happy to go? I may as well just show you the third recipe, because we're getting close to being finished there too. This one is from Tasty Chickens in the United States. Everybody got that one? It's best to put these into your collection straight away. And if you haven't seen this before, I'm going to add this to a collection. Let's say 2 dinners.
Chicken.
Yeah. If you've got a recipe collection that you've named chicken, absolutely. So now I go to my recipes, into created recipes, and here is dinners. And there you have it. So if you haven't had the chance to make this yet, but you're looking for something in about a week or 2 weeks' time, go to your previously saved up dishes and find some inspiration. If anyone wants to have a look at mine, obviously this is always in conjunction with cooking experience or other events. So I've got a nice little collection going for just dinners. Stop me if you want to have a name somewhere.
What did you
I
say?
can recommend, if you haven't made these, this is actually a really, really nice one.
Which one was that?
The sweet potato and chickpea pizzas, if you're trying to stay gluten-free. So that's a really nice one. I've made that previously. Those of you who have been to Christmas hamper swaps before, I have actually made this recipe. This is from a Sam Woods collection. And I have left the spaghetti out and replaced it with white cabbage for those people, really suitable for people who are on a health kick and want to stay to low carb options. It's got lots of valuable vegetables in it. But what I also love is that the green sauce, the pesto sauce that was produced, has no nuts in it, which is a great option for people who have to worry about nut allergies. Yeah. I personally have also loved this one. It's a baked salmon dish with potatoes and dill. Love this one. And as you can see, this is in German. If you go on your computer and you open Cookie-Doo up in your Google Chrome, it should be set that the recipes get translated straight away. So if anyone is worried about language settings, if Cookie-Doo is set up on Google Chrome, it will translate the recipe for you straight away.
So that particular recipe doesn't come in English?
That particular recipe, I haven't found it, but I will, if you're interested, I'll find it. The salmon one, is that the salmon one that you want?
Yes.
Yep, I'll find it, or I can translate it for you. It's really easy to set up and it makes a lot. So if you like to offer chicken, fish choices in the household, that's a really good one because it's a heartwarming one and it's got potatoes in it. So yeah, and beautiful creamy sauce. Another easy one for those who love sweets. I'm just looking at you, Helen. The chicken and peach sauce. This one is really, really easy. And Carly, I see you right there too. This would be a lovely choice for kids as well, if you like peaches, that is. Yeah. Does anybody, and this one, it doesn't look the world, but it is an absolute hit and it doesn't take much time to prepare. You can have this with salad or with pretty much any other sides, but have a look at this. It's, may as well put it up. Very, very simple to set up. and within less than half an hour you have dinner, but it takes you 3 minutes to set up. This could be an everyday, every of the week dinner choice. I know, Michelle, you always look for stuff that the boys will eat. This, I think, would be a good choice for the boys. Yeah. Okay, stopping screen share here. Did you give me that spread? Have a look. Shall we? Have a look. Yep. I think that's mine now. That's mine. I'm going to take this out of the way because I'm going to show you the rest. As we are so serve the main meal. Prior to me making the dish, the chicken dish, I've made some rice. And does everybody have one of these or several?
No.
No? Well,
No.
this is something, this would be one reason to have a cooking experience, seriously. Earn yourself one. I'd love to get one to everyone, but there is absolutely no other way for me to do that than having you booked in for a cooking experience or a session. So I've had the rice cooked. It goes into my thermoserver. And my rice can cook 3-4 hours before dinner is actually coming onto the table. This stays hot for 3 to 4 hours minimum.
Oh, wow.
On many days in the week, particularly when I've got to go out, my food is cooked. It gets put to the side, and it then gets served.
I have a small one, but
sorry?
I have a small one, which I just recently purchased, but I haven't got the big one yet.
Yeah. I find the small ones really, really helpful, particularly when you've got little kids, or if you have lots of leftovers, or you have sauces, or you're making tapas and smaller dishes. It's great to store things in the fridge. Love these, and I'm not sure that they didn't used to be sold on the mix shop, but I've noticed that recently that they're sold on the mix shop. Yeah, I'm very happy to have mine. So 15 seconds and we're on. I do have a dish that is an all-in-one dish cooked in the Varoma that I made this week that I would love to bring to those of you who love fish or chicken or just plainly love the use of the Varoma with it a different way. So we're making a soup at the bottom. We're cooking the fish or the chicken or the portobello mushrooms for those of you who are vegetarians, or anything really that you like to place up the top, extra vegetables. But the real winner is the soup. And I'm going to put it out there to you if you'd like that to be made, or if you want us to make it together, I'll send out the recipe and we can cook this together. And I'll show you my few ideas around the recipe. But I think for the next 3-4 weeks, I'd love to use the Sunday afternoon to make things using the Varoma, because it doesn't just take one recipe. It takes a little bit of practice to give ourselves and each other confidence in utilizing the Varoma in various ways. And have a look. So if I was to serve this straight away, and I know I don't need to, I would place the chicken mixture into the bowls. Have a look. Can you see my vegetables? This is one thing I love about steaming vegetables in the Varoma. We maintain the color. So what I will be doing is I'm placing my veggies in here. I may have to put 2 Varomas out. 2 thermoservers. And now have a look at how much is produced. It's pretty much 2.2 kilos of sauce. And I'm going to need a ladle in order to get this safely into the thermoserver. Anybody coming for dinner? So I guess there is different preferences for people. And what I'm talking about right now is some of us love a more thinner sauce. Some of us like it to be thicker. If you want your sauce to be thicker, when I put the tapioca starch in, double that so that your sauce becomes that little bit thicker. So it's going to definitely fill us up a little bit.
So where do you buy the tapioca starch from?
I've bought it from Bibina in Warners Bay, I think it is. But I will find out. You could perhaps go to the health food shop or even the Asian supermarket in Green Hills. That could be.
So where did you get it from? Bibina, was it?
Sorry?
Was it Bibina you said you got that from?
Bibina, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Bibina.
Yep. Yeah, I've been there before.
Just to make it look a little bit more special.
Thanks, Colette. I've got to leave you, so I'll catch you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Paulette, they sell tapioca starch at Organic Feast.
Well, there you go.
There's
There's a health food shop.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
No worries. How does that look?
Delish.
Everyone happy?
Mm.
And this is 2.5 liters, and I still have this much in here. So it's definitely a humongous amount of food that is made in the Thermomix. And I have to say, this is the answer that I have to people who say the Thermomix doesn't cook enough food for their families. I feel it really is a matter of what type of dishes you choose, how you think about creating your food, and how you then assemble your food. I hope that this was helpful. Now I'll go back to the chat and perhaps even try.
Dessert.
How is it? Hang on. So hopefully, hang on. Yes. Is it soft? Yes, it is soft. I don't eat this kind of food a lot. However, today I can do with it. It's good. It's a little bit more moist in the inside, which for those of you who like it a bit denser, just steam it for a bit longer. And I would definitely place the baking paper over the top. That would be a good tip to not have it too watery. Yeah. And
Okay.
my raisins didn't really spoil the dish, so I love that. Did you enjoy the dishes? Which of the dishes are you going to try?
Guess.
The which?
You guess.
Oh,
Dessert.
yeah. Yeah, I know you. Yes.
No, maybe the other one.
Which
The
are you
chicken.
going to try? That's just teasing us from Linda. Linda, you coming? You're going to do the ginger puddings. Andrew, are you for real? You have not done this? I figured out a dish that you haven't made. That's awesome. Anna, thank you. Maybe I'll bring them to the gym one day. Yep. What I really like is the idea of once you've cooked your dinner and you're actually sitting down to have the dinner, having something steaming in the background is really not going to take any effort from you. No? Just as the machine cleans itself, it could just cook a dessert. Isn't that right? I think that's very clever. Yeah. Yeah. So love your feedback. I know I've got a little bit of work on the cameras to do. I did buy a new device that will actually help me not have to worry about 2 cameras, but that hasn't arrived yet. So would love to hear your feedback and would love to hear from you what you'd like to see next. Hang on, can you use Varoma on cleaning mode? Can you use the Varoma on cleaning mode? So you can, but you will only if you're leaving that little hole. No? If you've got cleaning mode on and you put it on, let's say browning, where the highest amount of temperature is produced, you may get a good amount of steam going into the Varoma. But I really think that the best place to clean the Varoma is the dishwasher, if you have one. Personally, I'm even lazy enough to not want to brush the Varoma with my brush. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it can be done, but it's not going to fully clean it. Yeah, you might investigate. Yeah, send us your findings. Yes. What did you enjoy today? Something to look forward to making?
Oh,
I enjoyed it all. It was good to watch.
Yeah, that's good. I haven't actually done a Zoom with food by myself for quite a while. And I think that needs to change. It depends on the starch that you're buying. There is potato starch and there's corn starch. So tapioca hasn't got any gluten in it, which is basically what you want to see. Let me check. Oh, this one doesn't have any extra information, but I'll send you some stuff on the difference between the different starches. Writing myself a note. That's good. Thank you, Andrew. Any feedback is good. Starches. So I've been sharing this on several channels, on my page, on the group, and on the Life Changers community. And on my personal group page, I have actually invited customers to enjoy another challenge. So we've currently got a 28-day challenge on savings going for anyone who has joined that. We're doing fairly well in the savings department, and that's going on the Life Changers page. If any one of you is interested in joining into that challenge, I can send you the 28-day challenge document. It doesn't mean you've got to follow it to the T, but it just is something to help you engage with your machine more, learn something new, and maybe even find recipes that everyone in the house likes, but they don't cost a world to produce. So send me messages or go into the chat box if you're interested in that challenge. The other thing that I'm planning to do, and this is something that I've investigated in my personal customer group for a while, is I have a 4 to 6 programs planned where once a week I put out one herb or spice that we're going to be using more in the cooking. And I've put this on hold during the school holidays and during the last week or two, plainly because of the flooding and the difficulty in getting the ingredient. But once we get out of school holidays and everyone's hopefully going back to a normal schedule, I'm going to start that. So every week I'm going to do a little write-up on one herb or spice, and then I'll give some examples on dishes that you can use this for, with, and in. If you are like to enjoy this, join my personal group, Colette's Feel Good Mix, which I will have in the email that I'm writing to you after this. And yes, if there's anything that you'd like to learn about, I am always very happy to receive your feedback and wishes. That would be amazing. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad that you like that idea, because I've been picking things that I feel I want to use more personally, and what I want to use, I feel customers will want to use too. Right. Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent. Yes, and I will involve you too. And I'm glad that you enjoyed this. So what's everybody doing with the rest of Sunday afternoon? Nothing?
I need to go and have a nap. I'm very tired now.
I'm going to eat this. What, you're tired from watching?
No, from COVID. You woke me up, Colette.
Am I seeing you tomorrow? No. Are you still in
no, I'm
isolation?
still in isolation tomorrow.
Yep. So I will be
later in the week.
I will be doing face-to-face as well as sending out programs to training.
Okay.
Yep.
If
Great
you
session.
can
Oh, thank
send
you,
one out,
Michelle. That's
that
really
goes.
good feedback. I'm curious to know, is this something you're going to try on the boys?
I'll try for Colin, but there's no way Ryan will eat that.
Or is that too much color? Too much veggies?
Yeah, for him.
And
But Ryan,
tell me-
Colin will eat it. I'll just have to make a separate meal for Ryan.
Okay, that's no issue. You know
I'm
what
used to
I'm
doing
gonna have to do? The next step here is to give you a choice for a vegetarian dish, because this is what I've got to do at the moment. My daughter is a vegetarian, and so my choices here will be to, and that's what I'm gonna do with the rest. I have some more vegetables aside, so I'm going to cook tofu up for her so that she gets her protein option looked after with all the veggies and the rice. Yeah. Pretty much my week looks a bit like thinking every day, what can I cook that I can offer for both parties?
Yeah.
Yeah, without cooking 2 separate meals. So if you give me a little bit more of an idea of what flavors he likes, I suspect not so much the Asian flavors, but more so the traditional heartwarming beef stroganoff type of flavors, or maybe even tomato-based flavors, then I'll come up with some ideas in that respect.
He won't eat anything with a vegetable in it. That's the issue.
Oh, so we need to have them disappear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is what I use the Thermomix for. Like I'll make lasagna and stuff like that, and he's got no idea there's like 20,000 vegetables I've put in it. But
yeah. See, I'm still cheering about me being able to make the kids eat mushrooms, because they were never, both of them never ate mushrooms. Now they can eat them just a whole, because I mixed them up underneath the food and then off we went. And one day they'd said, no, we don't eat mushrooms. And then I had to laugh because, yep, you will have been. Yeah. I opened the wine at the start. I need wine nap now. Oh, a wine sounds like a really good idea. Mix the tofu with a bit of mince into tofu burgers. She won't know, I tell you. This is really funny. I made bone broth the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and I gave her the broth with vegetables, and she had it. Yep. If you Google disappear veggies. Yes, Michelle, did you see that in the chat box? You could Google disappear veggies recipe Thermomix. There's lots of options for you.
Yeah, I'm Googling it now.
Off you go. Send me, yeah, maybe you can share your findings in the group. Well, I will say thank you very much and stop the recording.
Thank you.